very few people on the planet are as unhinged as Star Trek actors over the Donald Trump election. It's been so much fun watching them over the last couple of weeks, flouncing off of Blue Sky, or not off of Blue Sky, off of Twitter, not actually leaving Twitter, and of course, going absolutely crazy. But Anson Mount, who is the captain of Strange New Worlds, Captain Pike, has really gone further than any man has gone before in his craziness, and just completely lost it over the weekend here. We're going to talk about what he said in just a moment. And of course, this is my Fandom Pulse Substack, guys. So once you hit the like and subscribe here on the channel, please actually come and then subscribe to the Substack. And this is in the description below. I am a science fiction writer myself, and this is my Stars Entwined. It's part of my Arishan War trilogy. This is a great one for people who love Star Trek, who don't want the woke agenda involved. I'm actually building right now another follow-up trilogy that's a space exploration trilogy. This one is about a spy who's embedding himself on an alien starship, and you'll love this. Like I said, if you're a big Deep Space Nine fan or whatnot, the golden stuff back in the 90s, this is for you. It's in the description below. Please support this. It's on ebook, print, and audio, and you can, of course, get the whole trilogy and read today. Thank you so much. So, celebrity meltdowns continue over the election of Donald Trump. While many Star Trek actors have fled to Threads or Blue Sky, I talked about this yesterday on the channel. Go watch that video. Anson Mount, who plays Captain Christopher Pike on Strange New Worlds, is fighting with fans on X, telling half of the country to F off rather than acting like a professional. So Strange New Worlds, if you guys have missed the last few years, it's a prequel to the original Star Trek. Following the adventures of Captain Pike and the crew, the character appeared in the first original pilot called The Cage, and the character was not liked by the network, so they replaced him with William Shatner and Captain Kirk, and they filmed another pilot. But during that time, they had a couple things that were kind of different about the show. They had a female first officer named Number One, who they've given a full name in the show and all that. And, of course, they had Spock like normal, but kind of a different crew. I mean, they didn't really have Dr. McCoy yet, didn't have Scotty or anybody else like that. And so they were able to fill out this crew, and it's kind of a weird show in that it's like Captain Pike and Spock are just surrounded by women, it seems like most shows these days. It's all right. I've watched the first 2 seasons, and most of it was a lot better than like Discovery or Lower Decks in terms of Star Trek. So they are gearing up for season 3, which is supposed to hit summer next year. So there's going to be a big lull between season 2 and season 3. Maybe he feels pretty safe right now, thinking that people will forget on the internet before all this goes down. But these actors throwing tirades like this cause a lot of problems. We know that Ncuti Gatwa from Doctor Who went crazy last year when he was getting pushback because of the woke agenda in Doctor Who and how obnoxious that was. He told people to go turn off the TV, and sure enough, the audience turned off the TV, and Doctor Who's ratings were super low, some of the worst ever for the show. Strange New Worlds actually has been performing okay for Paramount Plus, and a lot better than Discovery. Discovery was the same thing. I mean, they just went way woke agenda, and it was too great, and the storytelling was terrible as a result. And so people didn't watch it with nearly the amount that they do with this. And of course, it's a much easier sell to get people to watch a show of the USS Enterprise with a Spock character on it as well. Anson Mount's actually done a pretty good job. I actually like him in the role. It's really sad to see him go down and melt down like this, because it makes me not want to watch the show, as it does most people. So this came from Kyle Hunter, who is a meteorologist in Los Angeles, and he was posting to The Hollywood Reporter. Anson Mount was not tagged. I guess Anson Mount probably knows who this guy is, maybe not. But he said this guy was replying about the Rachel Zegler thing, and Rachel Zegler going crazy and making violent threats about Donald Trump supporters, of course, and then was forced to apologize for it a couple of days later. Very interesting stuff right there. And of course, Hollywood Reporter said, there's a lot of conservative backlash about that, and it's going to hurt Disney. It's going to hurt her program. Who's going to go see Snow White after that kind of a tirade, even if she did apologize? Absolutely crazy. And he just said in response to that, memo to Hollywood, stop alienating half your audience. You would think that would be a very, very simple thing. And if you remember how, classy actors were back in the day, they really didn't do this kind of thing. They didn't go and have these kind of tirades all the time. Maybe it's because they didn't have Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever to be able to just serially just pound that keyboard online angrily all day. But they didn't. I mean, this is you never saw Patrick Stewart doing stuff like this. You never saw William Shatner doing it. By the way, William Shatner's got a very fun Twitter account. Never really done something like that. And Shatner really doesn't wade into politics. I mean, it's kind of nice. But Anson Mount is part of this new crop of Hollywood, and he just can't handle it. So he tells him F off. And as you can see, it's like, the message was stop alienating half your audience. And he says F off. And so his conclusion is, I'm happy to alienate half my audience. I want people to stop watching the show. It's much like Nikuti Gatwa's tirade, like I said. Very, very weird. Like, why on earth would you, again, this guy wasn't even replying to Anson Mount. Anson Mount found this, went and grabbed it, and intentionally just made this like statement to half the country that he doesn't want you to watch his show. And that he's happy to have you alienated. All because he doesn't like election results. Wow. Anson, geez, this is really, really bad behavior, obviously. And he continues on, and they're having a big meltdown. This is like big sign of meltdown right here when this kind of thing happens. Lost 6,000 followers since the election. Let's keep it going, people. When you're bragging about losing followers, when you're bragging that people are tuning out and saying, I don't like what you're doing, I'm out, bro, because you're so angry, that's a time to self-reflect and stop. You should be gaining followers, should be gaining subscribers. If you're keeping the audience happy, your job's a performer. You're an entertainer. Like, if you're not keeping the audience happy, what are you doing, Anson Mount? I mean, obviously we know what he's doing, and it's really, really sad to watch. And he's been up in people's replies, flipping out about things. I mean, he is just like really, really just going at people online who would be Star Trek fans. And it's really sad. And this actually happened right here. So this Fight for the Red is a Star Trek fan. He's just a normal fan. Has I think he's got 100 followers or something like that. And he makes fun of him, saying off to Blue Sky with the rest of the whiny bee celebrities, I'm guessing. And so this is where he went really crazy. And I know this is like a quote joke, but like, I just don't post joke things like this because it's very, very bizarre. He says, if I did that, then I wouldn't be able to brainwash your children into transgenderism. Wait, what? So clearly this is the agenda, even though it's a joking agenda. This is a big mad mask off. He's saying what the intention is of Hollywood, and he knows it because that's what they're so upset about, because that's what really the election swung on was normal people don't want their children brainwashed into transgenderism. It's that simple, and they know it, and he knows deep down that's what it's all about. And so he went mask off here with just how crazy he actually is. And look at this. Perform the delicate data mining operations that will allow us to steal the next election for AOC and then force you into slavery with all the other white people. What a weird comment. By the way, if a conservative said something like this, even as a joke, if Gina Carano said something like this, even as a joke, they'd be fired immediately. You know it, too. Even as a joke. Like, because they'd go, oh, Gina Carano says slavery, she's racist, because slavery, That's exactly what they do on this. And yet, for some reason, he gets a pass to, like, go crazy like this. Why? Because he's advocating for leftism. So nobody's going to call him on it. Nobody at Paramount's going to do anything about it because we've seen exactly the product that Star Trek's been putting out over the last few years. It's been rabid identity politics. They've just been pushing it so hard in Discovery. It was such an unwatchable show with just like the two gay guys running around, being, crazy. And then, of course, Lower Decks advocates all that, pushes weird stuff, too. And so it's just like Strange New Worlds has been the one that, like, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop, right? Because you know they're going to put it in there at some point. And it's not been that bad so far. But this is the one that, like, they really haven't tried to turn off audiences like the others. And that's why their ratings were a little higher than the other shows. That's why those other shows are getting canceled and this one isn't. But he doesn't seem to know the lesson of that. He doesn't seem to understand the lesson of what this election means, that it's over. This is this agenda push, this creepy push to all your weird sexual fetishes that you want in front of children is not playing with average Americans. We're tuning out. Hollywood is dying as a result. And you'd better shape up because Mr. Entertainer, It's literally your job to entertain an audience. That is it. And if you tell your audience to F off, if you tell them you're going to mess with their kids, well, guess what? People aren't going to watch your show anymore. It's pretty obvious. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this, my friends. Hit the like and subscribe button. Join us here. And please check out some great alternatives to Star Trek. This is The Stars Entwined, and, of course, its sequels. Wonderful stuff. You're going to love this ebook, print, and audio. It's in the description below. Thank you so much for supporting. We'll be back soon.